What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ. This is Out of Bounds. I hope everyone out there had a great weekend. We're back. It's Monday. New week, new day, new opportunities to win some more money over on PrizePicks or your favorite sports betting site. So if you're into that sort of thing, definitely stick around because we're going to be talking about NBA player props. We're talking points, assists, and rebounds. Didn't really see any three-point props that I liked, but I'll make up for it by giving you some more in other categories. So if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you're back again, well, welcome back. Here on this channel, we talk all things single stat player props. Right now, our main focus is NBA, as I mentioned before. So if you're into that sort of thing, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my content. I typically release videos Monday through Friday, and they're very helpful for those who play on PrizePicks, or if you don't have PrizePicks available in your state, maybe you've got sports betting available where you live. The information in these videos is sure to be beneficial to you no matter where you play. So the goal for today is going to be 41.5 likes. I'm going to take the over, meaning we got to get at least 42 likes. You guys have been smashing these like goals day in and day out. And I'm going to set a weekly goal in terms of subscribers. I'd like to get our subscriber count up to 1,100. That would be huge. So if you're not subscribed yet, definitely make sure that you are and have notifications turned on. All right, without any further ado, we're going to talk about some NBA news real quick. We've got Gary Harris. This is a pretty big one for the Orlando Magic. He's dealing with a neck injury, but he's probable to play for Orlando on Monday. Now, Bogi Bogdanovic is dealing with a hamstring injury, but he's probable for the Atlanta Hawks against the Portland Trail Blazers. Also, Tony Snell is going to be available for the Hawks. He's been dealing with an ankle injury, so he'll be back for them. Norman Powell, this is a pretty big one, dealing with a knee injury, is questionable for the Portland Trail Blazers on Monday. If he's out, then you should see bumps for guys like Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, maybe even Robert Covington, Carmelo Anthony, and those types of folks. So there's a big one for you. Nerlens Noel is dealing with an ankle injury. He's questionable for the Knicks on Monday. The Lakers' Dennis Schroeder is expected to be out for 10 to 14 days, so they will be without their starting point guard, Dennis Schroeder. The Kings' Tyrese Halliburton had a pretty scary looking knee injury. He's going to be probably missing some time here for Sacramento, at least a game, I would say. I don't know how serious the injury is, but it looked pretty freaky. Otherwise, moving on down the line here, I don't really see any other big-time injury news. So here's Andrew Wiggins. He's dealing with a knee injury. He's questionable for Monday. Mason Plumlee is going to be out again, being rested on Monday. Diallo is dealing with a knee injury. He's questionable for the Pistons on Monday. What else do we got? Grayson Allen dealing with a hand injury. He's questionable for the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday. Edmund Sumner. He's dealing with a knee injury. He's probable, though, for the Indiana Pacers. Malcolm Brogdon, hamstring injury, is questionable for the Indiana Pacers. That's a pretty big one. James Ennis for the Magic. He's going to be out with a calf injury. What else do we have here? All right, that's it. We're gonna cut things off right there. That's it for injury news, but definitely stay plugged in. Again, if you're not a part of our Discord community, we've got an NBA news channel in there that pumps in all the latest news information, so you guys don't have to worry about following the news. As long as you're in the Discord, you'll automatically get all those updates. But it's free to join the Discord. I'll leave a link down in the description below. I'll also leave a link down to the Patreon membership. So if you like what I do in these YouTube videos and you want more of this type of content, for 20 bucks a month, you help support me as a content creator. And I go above and beyond for you guys, and I give you even more than what I can give you in a 30-minute YouTube video. We've got over 150, I think, patrons in there now. So lots of good NBA and other sports being talked about. So definitely think about joining. I appreciate all your support, and it goes a long way to help me continue to make videos like this for you. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and start getting into the different props that I'm going to be talking about today. And the first one I want to talk about is going to be Davis, wherever you're from, however you like to say it. Bertans at 10.5 points. They're taking on the Pacers. Pacers are pretty undersized right now without Sabonis and Miles Turner around. A guy like Bertans could definitely get over 10.5 points, and that's what I'm looking to do today. So we got Number Fire pulled up, and you can see that the game totals in this one are extremely high. 245.5 points with the Washington Wizards as 3-point favorites at home. So I am loving the total on this game. It is a great game for you to target some overs on, especially a guy like Bertans who has a big size advantage on what should be a smallish Indiana Pacers front court. So I'm liking the way this is shaping up so far, but we're going to do a little search here on Number Fire for Bertans, and you can see that his projected points are 11.5. So that's 1 whole point over where he's projected on PrizePicks right now. So I do like the way things are setting up so far. But we have to do more research than that. We can't just go off of one single source. So I like to dig in a little deeper here, look at his season scoring averages, look at his last 5 games, and try to see how well he's been scoring the ball. And you can see that for the season, he's averaging 11.2 points per game, which is still more than 10.5, which is a great look, especially for us if we're looking to take the over on his 10.5 points. Now I'm on NBA.com here, and I'm clicking through some things. I want to look at his last 5 games and see how well he's been scoring in his last 5. Now, this is a little concerning here. In his last 5 games, he's playing about 27 minutes per game. He is just scoring at 6.8 points per game. So, yeah, that is a worried look on my face because 6.8 points is obviously quite a bit under 10.5. And my initial gut reaction was let's go over 10.5 points on Bertans. So that is definitely a red flag for Bertans. But let's go to RotoWire. And the reason I use RotoWire is because they offer 4 of the biggest sports books side by side, so you can see how the action is coming in from all the different sports books out there. The bettors who are putting money down, real life money down, and you can get an idea of how maybe we should be looking to take the over or under on something like Davis Bertans and these 10.5 points. So you can see DraftKings Sportsbook, FanDuel Sportsbook, BetMGM, and PointsBet, they all have him at 10.5. So the first site here, DraftKings, has him at a minus 122. That is a good start. He's a minus 12 over on FanDuel, so not as strong as of a play as DraftKings. BetMGM, they've got him at minus 128. And last but not least, PointsBet, not seeing any juice under or over on this prop for Bertans. So all in all, it is a very high scoring game with a close spread. So that is definitely a good sign if we're looking to take overs on anyone like Bertans in this case. Another thing that's working out is the fact that he is averaging over 11 points per game for the season. And on top of that, we got all 3 of these sports books here. They all like him to go over. Not a huge position for an over on any of these sports books, minus 128 being the strongest juice that we're seeing. And then the one knock against him is the fact that his scoring averages have dropped drastically in his last 5 games versus where he's been scoring the ball for the season. So all things considered, though, I think I'm going to stick with it, being that this game is so high scoring and the Indiana Pacers are a little undersized in the front court. I think this could be an opportunity where Bertans takes advantage here. So I'm going to stick with the over in this case. Next guy I want to talk about is Brandon Ingram, New Orleans Pelicans, who is projected at 23.5 points. Of course, we mentioned earlier, big news would be Andrew Wiggins being out for the Golden State Warriors. So maybe this turns into a little bit of an easier matchup for Brandon Ingram if Wiggins was set to guard him originally and he can't. Well, then I don't know who's going to match up with Brandon Ingram. But anyway, this game does tip off at 7:40 p.m. So let's go back to the Number Fire site here, and we'll take a look at the game totals and the spread. So this is another one with a fantastic implied game total of 237.5 points. Very high scoring game. At least that's what the Vegas odds makers think. And then on top of that, this game does have a close spread. It's just a 3-point spread with New Orleans as the home favorite in this one. So it's a high scoring game, and it looks to be a competitive game, which means guys like Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, all the big names that you know from this game should be in a good spot to go over here. All right, so with that in mind, let's move to the point projection here for Brandon Ingram. We'll type his name in, and you can see that he is projected to score 24 real-life points by Number Fire. So that is more than 23.5. So the over on Brandon Ingram is looking like a good way to go here. So we'll type in Ingram's name on NBA.com. I do a little control click on his name so that it opens up a new tab. And on this new tab here, you can see that for the season, he is scoring at a 24 point per game clip. Very good average. In fact, he's almost at that 24, 5, and 5 for the season, which would be a pretty darn good season for Brandon Ingram. But let's get into his last 5 games, and we click the traditional splits link, and then we get into the stats here and change the advanced filter for the season segment from last 5 to, or from the full season to the last 5, I should say. And then you can see for his last 5 games, he's playing over 33 minutes per game. And in that time span, he's averaging 21.2 points per game, which is lower than 23.5 and is 3 points, almost 3 points lower than his season average. So yes, this is a little bit concerning here that he is experiencing a dip in his points per game in his last 5 games. But this is a high scoring game. This could be one of those games where he absolutely bounces back. So Ingrams, no, not Ingrams, just one Ingram, Brandon Ingram in this case. So you can see that we've got him up on DraftKings Sportsbook, FanDuel Sportsbook, BetMGM, and PointsBet all have him at 23.5 points. So he's a minus 121 over on DraftKings. That is a good start. 121 to go over. Minus 114 to go over on FanDuel. On BetMGM, he is a minus 125 to go over there. And last but not least, PointsBet has him at a minus 125. So all in all 4 sites agree that going over 23.5 points looks like the move here for Brandon Ingram. We already know it's a high-scoring game with a close competitive spread, so this game should be one where all the stars get plenty of run, as much run as they could possibly handle here. For the season, he is averaging 24 points per game, which is more than 23.5, which is a good thing if we're looking to go over on this 23.5. The projections also like him to go over, so that's another good argument for going over on Brandon Ingram. And in fact, the only knock or the only negative against Brandon Ingram is the fact that his scoring averages have experienced a little bit of a decline over his last 5 games. But again, just like I said with Bertans, being that the game is what it is in terms of total and spread and everything, I think I'm going to stick with it and hope that he returns back to his season averages and less to what his last 5 game averages are. So if he does that, we will be in good shape taking the over here. All right, so the next props I want to talk about are going to be assist props, and I've got a couple of Detroit Pistons I want to talk about. The first one being Josh Jackson. Now, Josh Jackson's at 3.5 assists today, and I don't know that 3.5 assists is quite enough here for Josh Jackson. Actually, I think it's too high. In this case, I'm looking to take the under on Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson, my goodness, at 3.5 assists. So let's take the under on him, and let's see how things are stacking up here across the league. So we type in his name, and you can click the assist column, and that highlights yellow, so it makes it a little easier to see. And let's scroll down a little bit. Where is he? There he is. Josh Jackson, 2.7 assists is his projection for tonight. Let's take a look at the game total here against Orlando. Just 210 points, although the spread is just 1.5 points, meaning that both of these sorry teams, yes, I'm wearing an Orlando Magic shirt and hat. I know we suck. Both of these teams are expected to not score very many points, but the game will stay close. Look, there's got to be a winner. As bad as both of these teams are, one of them are going to come out on top tonight. I promise you that. So Josh Jackson at 2.7 assists, looking like a good under so far here. Now, let's take a look at his season averages, and let's look at his last 5 games and see how those are shaping up. We can see for the season, 2.2 assists per game, which is pretty low here. That is well under 3.5, but, you know, some guys are going to be missing out of this Detroit Pistons lineup. So, you know, you could expect him to probably dish out maybe 1 extra assist. I would say this number is going to go up is what I'm getting at here. So let's click stats, traditional splits, change the advanced filter season segment from all games down to his last 5. Click run and see what comes up here. All right, so you can see in that 5-game window, he's played in all but 1 game, appearing in 4 games out of 5. And in that time, his assist numbers are still just at 3.3 assists. And that's with the guys like, you know, Mason Plumlee, Jeremy Grant out of the lineup, missing some games there. So still, I am liking the under on his 3.5 assists. I don't see anything that's making me want to flip or change my mind here or just fade or not play this pick, in other words. So far, I'm still liking the under here on Josh Jackson. Now on RotoWire, if we click this little assist button, it magically transports us over to the assist category where we can type in Josh Jackson's name. Now you can see that DraftKings and PointsBet do not have a prop up for his assist today, but the two sites that do seem to agree and align with the way that we're thinking about Josh Jackson and these assist props. So you can see at 3.5 on FanDuel, he's a minus 114 to go under. Now that's not a super strong take or super strong position, but it is an under, and that's a good sign for us. Now here on BetMGM, they've got him as a minus 125 to go under. So an even stronger position over on BetMGM with this 3.5 assist prop for Josh Jackson. So both of these sites on BetMGM and FanDuel both agree to go under on the 3.5 assists for Jackson. His season averages for assists are below 3.5. His last 5 game averages are below 3.5. The projections are also below 3.5. So, I mean, everything is lining up here for me to take this assist prop and go under still on this 3.5 assists for Josh Jackson. Now, I did want to mention Killian Hayes, but at the time that I made my little list for this video, he was at 7.5 assists, and he's already been bumped down to 7 assists. But let's go ahead and talk about it anyway. So we got Killian Hayes here at 7 assists. Let's try to figure out if going under or over on 7 assists makes any sense. So let's start by going back to number fire real quick. Since we already know about the game totals and the spread here, we can just skip over that part. So if I type in Killian Hayes' name, you can see that he is projected to go for exactly 7 assists in this matchup. So with that in mind, let's move over to NBA.com. We type in Killian, and 2 names come up, actually. I thought there was only one Killian in the league, but there's 2. But we're looking at Killian Hayes today, and you can see that for the season, he is averaging 4.8 assists per game, which is below 7 assists. So that is still looking like a good way to go, the under in this case. So we'll click traditional splits, click advanced filters, move this to the last 5 games, and click run and see what happens here. Now over his last 5 games, his assist numbers are still below 7 assists at 6.4 assists per game in the last 5 games. So the under still looking like a strong play and a good way to go here. I would have liked it more at 7.5 assists, but you know how PrizePicks is. They've got to continuously tweak and twist and turn their numbers, but that's okay because we'll work around that. Now you can see out of the 4 sports books we have available here on RotoWire, DraftKings is the only one that does not have an assist prop up. All the rest have them at 7.5, and you can see that FanDuel at 7.5 assists, they're actually taking the over there. They got him as a minus 114 to go over 7.5 dimes. Now, over on BetMGM, he is a minus 118 to go over 7.5 dimes there. And last but not least, PointsBet, they've got him as a minus 120 to go under here. So we're seeing a little bit of a difference of opinion here, at least the action that, the way that the folks are betting on these various sports books. We got him going over on FanDuel, over on BetMGM, but under on PointsBet and nothing for DraftKings. On top of that, we've got him going under both for his season averages and for his last 5 games. And his projection today is exactly 7 assists. So, I'm leaning toward potentially fading this play, but gun to head, you're making me decide here. I'm probably going to still stick to the under on Killian Hayes because there's not a lot of evidence that shows that he can consistently go over 7 assists, especially with the game totals being so low. There just shouldn't be a ton of points scored here. And when there's less points scored, typically there's less assists to go around. So I'd probably still stick to the under on Killian Hayes in this assist prop. All right, because I didn't have any 3-point makes, I'm going to actually give you 4 rebound props that I thought looked pretty nice tonight. So let's see if those have changed or if they've remained the same. So the first one is Lonzo Ball at 5.5 rebounds. Of course, we've already talked about how this game is such a high-scoring game, and all the big names for this game should play a full run of minutes. That is also including Lonzo Ball. So I've got him going over 5.5 rebounds. Let's take a look and see how things are stacking up here for Lonzo Ball tonight. So we'll click the rebound column, highlight that yellow, and then we'll type in Lonzo. I think he's the only Lonzo in the NBA. Now you can see that he's at 5.5 rebounds, which puts him in a push situation, but you cannot push on 5.5 rebounds. There's no such thing as a half a rebound. So he's either going to go over 5 rebounds or he's going to go under 5 rebounds. But there's he doesn't have to go under 5 rebounds. He could go for 5 rebounds or he could go for 6 rebounds. How about we say it that way? In this case, I'm still thinking that going over is going to be a good way to go, being with the high game totals and all that stuff. So let's type in Mr. Ball's name. We'll open up his player card here, and you can see that for the season, his rebound averages are below 5.5 rebounds, 4.6 rebounds to be exact. So when we open up his 5-game averages, we want to see that trending upward. We want to see him going up over where he's been rebounding the basketball for the season. So we change the season segment to 5 games. We click run, and you can see that his rebounds are on the way up for sure. 8.8 rebounds per game over his last 5 games. He's playing 36 minutes, getting plenty of run out there. So 8.8 rebounds versus 4.6 rebounds for the season averages. He's up over 4 rebounds per game in his last 5 games. He has just been absolutely a dog on the glass. So I am liking the way that is looking, because if we're looking to take the over, we want to see those rebounds trending in that direction as well. So back to RotoWire we go. We're going to click the rebound button, and it takes us to our rebound section. We type in Lonzo's name, and you can see that DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, and PointsBet all have him at 5.5 rebounds. Now, you're getting minus 143 on DraftKings, huge over there. Minus 124 on FanDuel and over there. Minus 149 over on BetMGM and over there. And last but not least, the chef's kiss, the icing on the cake, minus 150 over on PointsBet. Guys, what is there not to love here? The only knock against this guy is his season average for rebounds were down below 5.5, but you could see how big of a rebound monster he has been over his last 5 games. You look at how all the juice is flowing, all the action is going here over on the different sports books. You look at how he is projected at 5.5 rebounds. So I think everything lines up here for Lonzo Ball to go over. I could see him easily pulling down 6 boards, maybe even more. He has seemed to find his groove here in the last few games. All right, so with Lonzo Ball out of the way, let's talk about a New York Knick. And we're talking Julius Randle. He's projected at 9.5 rebounds facing the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I like him to go over 9.5 rebounds tonight. For the season, I believe he is going past that. I think he's up there around 10 rebounds or more for the season. But let's look at Julius Randle's projection here for rebounds. So we'll type in his name. We don't want Chason Randle. We want Julius Randle. And there you go. You can see 9.7 rebounds is his projection over on Number Fire. So obviously you can't get 9.7 rebounds. There's no such thing as a fraction of a rebound. But if you think about this as like 9 rebounds versus 10 rebounds, he is much closer to 10 rebounds than he is 9 rebounds. So that is a good first step, a good sign for things to come here. Now let's look at the game totals real quick. We got Memphis at 220 implied points. Well, not just Memphis, but New York and Memphis at 220 implied points, with Memphis as a 3-point favorite at home. So the game is not the most high scoring game, but the spread is close. So that means guys like Julius Randle should play tons of minutes here and get all the opportunities in the world to pull down more than 9.5 boards. So we'll type in Mr. Julius Randle's name. We'll open up his player card. And there you go. For the season, he is averaging 10.3 rebounds per game. So we just need to have him have an average rebounding game tonight. We're not looking for anything off the charts. Just pull down 10.3 rebounds or better, and we're in good shape here. So we'll change the filters, move it over to a 5-game segment. And you can see he's appeared in all 5 of his last 5 games. He's playing nearly 37 minutes per game. And during that time span, his rebound numbers are actually down 8.2 rebounds per game. So that is a bit of a concern. You wanted to see his rebounds go up instead of going down because we are looking to take the over. But he's at 8.2 rebounds, which is less than 9.5 rebounds and less than his season average of 10.3 rebounds. So it's a little bit concerning. But we're going to check the various sports books out there, and let's type in Julius Randle's name. You can see he's at 9.5 boards across the industry today. Over on DraftKings, they got him as a minus 122 for the over. FanDuel's got him as a minus 120 on the over, minus 120 on the over for BetMGM, and minus 125 on PointsBet. So all four sites agree that the money should be on the over here. We should be taking the over on Julius Randle's rebound props. His season averages also look good. The only thing working against him is that his last 5 games, his rebound numbers have began to decline. They've been in a dip, we'll say. And last but not least, the game total, pretty high, but not, super high. Not as high as some of these other games that we've seen so far. But the spread is close and competitive, meaning he should play as many minutes as possible. So, I'm going to stick with it. A lot of the time, I think Vegas is right here. The projections agree as well that he should be closer to 10 rebounds tonight. So I think this is a good spot for him to bounce back and be closer to his season averages for rebounds. All right, the next one I want to talk about is Tobias Harris, Philadelphia 76ers forward. I've got him at 5.5 rebounds, but I think that he can go over that number against the Chicago Bulls tonight. That game tips off at 9:10 p.m. So Tobias Harris, let's go look at his rebound projection first and foremost. But before we do that, let me look at the game totals real quick. So just 211.5 points with Chicago as a 5-point underdog at home. So not a very high total here. So going over on a player like Tobias Harris can be a little bit of a concern. But now that we know what we know about the game and how it's setting up, let's look for Tobias Harris in this rebound prop. Now here's what stuck out to me for Tobias Harris. He's projected for 7.2 rebounds according to NumberFire, which is a lot more than 5.5 rebounds. So that is why I chose Tobias Harris for today's video. So let's go look at his season averages, 5-game averages, and see how those are stacking up here. Now for the season, he is averaging 7 rebounds per game, which would be fantastic. If he pulled down 6 boards, 7 boards tonight, and we take the over, well, we should make some money. And then we're going to go look at his last 5 games and see how those go up or go down. We want to see it go up, ideally, from 7 to something higher. All right. So he's appeared in all 5 of his last 5 games. Now his minutes are just 27.4 minutes. That is pretty low versus the amount of minutes that he gets over the course of the season. Now during that time, his rebound averages are at 5.6, so slightly more than 5.5, meaning he should be closer to 6 rebounds tonight than 5 rebounds. So this is also another good thing to look out for, a good sign here for Tobias Harris. We're typing in his name on RotoWire, DraftKings Sportsbook, PointsBet. Neither one has a rebound prop up for Tobias Harris. FanDuel does, though, and he's a minus 118 to go over there, and an even bigger favorite on BetMGM to go over 5.5 boards at minus 120. So there you have it. The sports books agree. His season averages are above 5.5. His last 5 game averages are above 5.5, and his projections tonight are well over 5.5. They have him over 7 rebounds tonight. So I like the way everything is lining up here for Tobias Harris. Nothing that I'm seeing is pushing me off going over 5.5 rebounds on this prop. So I'm sticking with it. Now, last but not least, we've got Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets, who is projected at 7.5 rebounds. 7.5 rebounds. For me, I am looking to take the over here because he looked to have a pretty juicy projection over on NumberFire. But before we do that, we're going to look at the game totals. This game is the last game on tonight's slate. 215 implied points here, with the Lakers as a 4-point favorite at home. Now, I was kind of disappointed when I saw the total of this game. I thought maybe this game would have a bit of a higher total than 215 points, at least 220, maybe 225, but no. 215 is what it is. So knowing what we know now, let's go ahead and type in Mr. Porter Jr.'s name. at 8.4 rebounds. That puts him over 7.5. We need him to basically be at 8 boards or better tonight. So if he pulls down 8 and we take the over, we're in good shape. So that is a good first step here for Porter Jr. Let's look up MPJ's season stats and his last 5 game stats and see how things are shaping up. You can see that for the season, 7.6 rebounds per game. That is good because that is more than 7.5. That means he's closer to 8 rebounds per game than he is 7 rebounds per game, which is exactly what we want out of him tonight. So we're going to go look at his last 5 games. Let's run this report and see what happens. All right, he's appeared in all 5 of the last 5 games, averaging over 36 minutes per game. And during that time span, he has rebounded the ball at 7 rebounds per game, which is a little bit lower than 7.5. So that's a little bit of a knock, but not enough of a concern for me to like fade this pick or abandon it. I'm still sticking with it. And we're going to look at the different Vegas odds here and see how the sports books like this play. So we type in his name, and he's the only Porter Jr. Fortunately for us, there's a few of them in the league, but he's the only one playing tonight. And you can see across all 4 sports books, they got him all at 7.5 rebounds. He's a minus 127 on DraftKings, a minus 124 on FanDuel, a minus 133 on BetMGM, and a minus 134 on PointsBet. So all 4 sites agree that the action should be on the over for Michael Porter Jr. A little concerning, his last 5 games, his rebound averages are a bit lower than 7.5, but he's still at 7 boards, which means 7.5 or more is definitely doable. We just need him to pull down 1 more extra board than he has in his last 5 games. The projections also agree that he can pull down 8 or more rebounds in this case. And last but not least, the game totals, they aren't terrible. And the fact that this game is expected to stay close and competitive leads me to believe that Michael Porter Jr. should get plenty of minutes. He's been averaging over 36 per game. And this should be a spot where he can grab 8 or more boards for us. But that is going to do it for today's video. Sorry I didn't have any 3-point props, but when PrizePicks takes the hook and rounds it up and rounds it down in their favor to where things look like a push, I'm just not going to talk about any of those plays in this video. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. We're not here for pushes. We're here for wins. And we want definitive overs or definitive unders, and that's what I aim for when I make these videos and make the spreadsheets for all the Patreon members and all that. But let's see if we can hit that like goal in today's video, guys. Let's see if we could also hit that subscriber goal for the week and reach 1,100 subscribers. That would be totally awesome. And we have come such a long way in such a short period of time. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is CJ for Out of Bounds. Good luck tonight. And until the next one, guys, let's win some money tonight, all right? Peace out.